How many days a week should I power clean? Today we talk about how many days a week should I power clean, the ideal frequency in a power clean, and how understanding the relation between effort and reward is very important. How many days a week should I power clean? A question regarding the training frequency. What is the ideal frequency? How many training sessions a week in a given exercise, in that case the power clean? My first question would be, okay, what's the goal? And the second question, very closely related, what are the other responsibilities next to your training in the gym? In my case, or in my role as a coach, very seldom, actually I don't have any athlete that only train in the weight room. Their main responsibility is another sport, even though their sport is highly dependent on their strength and power levels, so my work becomes very important. It's never that the lifting, the work in the weight room is the most important part. So weighing up how much other responsibilities exist and how much time can be invested in training should be the first consideration. Important is to understand the relation between effort and reward. And what do I mean by that? So how much you put in and how much you get out. In the beginning, when you start any training, the relation between effort and reward is linear. So the more you put in, the more you get out. But at some point, it flattens. So what that means is you put in, and the outcome is not as you would like to see it. So you have to put in more than you get out. So coming back to our question for the power clean, that also means that the more you are advanced, the more you have to put in, whether it's time or focus or intention, into that particular exercise in order to get better. If we're talking about frequency per week, it always rings an alarm bell in me, for the simple reason that consistency is more important. So what that means, people tend to be very ambitious when they start, but then at some point when it becomes tougher and tougher, the motivation drifts away and training sessions are missed. I see that with my athletes as well. At the beginning of the preseason, let me be very clear, we don't miss any training sessions. Let me explain. At the beginning of the preseason, everyone's very excited and motivated to get to the gym and to lift heavy. But what happens a few weeks down the road, fatigue accumulates and things become more and more difficult and motivation goes away. It doesn't mean that there's no motivation, but it's much, much harder to motivate yourself. And the majority of my athletes can do that very well, I have to admit that. So, can motivate themselves very well. So what that means is, it is very easy to say, okay, I go 4 times to the gym and I do power cleans. But I would say, go twice to the gym and make sure you do that for 12 weeks, 20 weeks, or best actually ongoing. So I got a bit off track here. Anyway, so let's talk about the ideal frequency. For most people and most athletes who want to improve and get stronger in the power clean, a training frequency from 1 to 2 times a week is sufficient, if you do it well. If you have more time and you want to do more than 2 times a week power clean in your training, I would really advise to look also at different variations of the power clean and different loading patterns. So different variations means one day you could do it from the ground, one day you could do it from the hang, one day from the block, or also maybe just one day is power clean, one day is a clean pull. So looking at different variations, not doing the same exercise 3 times a week or 4 times. The next thing is the loading pattern, same thing here. If you train more than once or twice, I would look at different loading patterns. So one would be heavy, let's say higher intensities, lower repetitions. One could be more a technical workout. so that you also balance the loading in the training sessions. As a recap, what is your goal? What are your other training responsibilities? That determines how much time you can invest into the strength training. Then 1 to 2 times a week power clean is sufficient. If you want to do more, look at different variations. So not doing 3 or 4 times a week power clean, look at different variations, and also look at different loading patterns in changes in intensity and volume.